What an epic match we had today. I mean, I just don't have words. What an amazing display by Alcaraz and Sinner. And this was such a great match. I mean, this clearly reminded me of the 2008 final between Rafa and Roger at Wimbledon. And it was just amazing. So, for those who didn't watch this match, I think it is one of the most beautiful and unpredictable matches that you could see, and amazing tennis. So first of all, it lasted more than 5 hours, almost 5.5 hours, and there was quality tennis all around. Both Alcaraz and Sinner played their best tennis at very important moments. This was just an amazing match. So, first of all, congratulations to both Alcaraz and Sinner. I think this was a huge effort from both of them. And I know that this was their first ever Grand Slam final meeting, but boy, did it live up to the potential. It was just absolutely fantastic. So I hope all of you get a chance to watch the highlights if you haven't, and if you have watched it live, then you know what I'm talking about, right? So let's get into the match, and I would say, I mean, let's first look at the score. So as you can see, Alcaraz came back from 2 sets to love down, 4-6, 6-7 in the tiebreak, and then he came back 6-4, again 7-6 in the fourth set tiebreak, and then there was the match tiebreak that happens after the fourth set in the fifth set if it is 6 all, and it is the first player to get to 10 points. So it's a big tie break. There is a lot of room for comebacks, but Alcaraz completely was untouchable in the tiebreak. He went up 7 points to love in the fifth set tiebreak. So there was just no coming back from Sinner. Even though he played well, he did come back in the final set. He was a breakdown. Alcaraz was serving for the championship in the fifth set, and we'll see all how it unfolded, because there was just so many moments where things could have changed for either player. It was a roller coaster, completely a thrilling match, right? It was a complete thriller. You never knew what would happen. Obviously, when you saw the first 2 sets, you thought, okay, Sinner is going to get away with this match, and he was playing at an unbelievable level. And as I have said earlier, Sinner plays mostly at the same level. He always plays 90 out of 100, and that is his actual level. He is very consistent. He is tactically very sound. He's skillful. He has all the shots. But Alcaraz has that extra magic. Now, it comes with both things, right? There are two faces of a coin. So sometimes that can let him down at important moments. He will miss a lot of shots, specifically his forehand. But at other times, that forehand would turn out to be magical, and he would produce unbelievable shots again at important moments. And that would not just win him important points, but that would also break the spirit of the opponent, because the opponent would be in awe of such a shot that Alcaraz can produce. So I think that is the difference for most of the match, or throughout the match. You will see that Sinner plays at the same level, whereas Alcaraz's level dips and then he comes back. But I don't know how, he always finds a way to somehow produce his best whenever needed. And today he was very, very close to losing. I thought Sinner was playing really well for first couple of sets, and even though Alcaraz made a comeback, and in the fourth set again, it was a tie break, very close. In the fifth set, he got an early break, so looked like Alcaraz would run away with this match, having all the momentum and having come back and saved three championship points in the fourth set back to back. But it wasn't to be. Even with that shift of momentum and having lost all those opportunities and looking physically tired, Sinner still found a way to come back into the fifth set, break Alcaraz when Alcaraz was serving for the championship at 5-4, and then he came back, then he won another game, and he was very close to again, getting ahead. But kudos to Alcaraz, who still, stood firm and went for his shots. He was just completely going for his shots on his forehand, and I don't know how, but during the tail end of the fifth set and in the tiebreak, he started making those shots, incredible shots on his forehand, on his backhand down the line, and he was running for each of the balls. He was going for drop shots, and he was just going for the lines and making those. So amazing display. Now there is not too much to choose between them in terms of statistics, and as you know, if you saw the match, overall Sinner won 1 point more than Alcaraz. So such was the closeness of the match. Such was the incredible, level from both of the players that there was hardly anything to choose between them. Now, obviously, I feel that Sinner was serving better from the get-go. He was also returning well. As you can see, he has one more aces and zero double faults. Now, remember that Sinner made, I think, only two double faults throughout this tournament. So that is a very, very good display of serve from Sinner. And the thing that I was most impressed about Sinner in this match was his return. Now, some of the serves, Alcaraz served very well, but just like Djokovic, Sinner was able to return those very deep, and completely the rally was neutralized immediately. And after that, because Alcaraz was missing so many shots early on, and Sinner was just playing consistent tennis, he was going for his shots. By no means, when I say that he was playing consistent, he was playing percentage. No, it's not like that. Sinner was also pounding the ball, he was hitting very hard, but he was not missing the shots. Whereas Alcaraz has more power in his shots, so he could just hit a winner from anywhere in the court. But he was missing more than he was winning during the first two sets. So as you can see, the first serve percentage, not much difference, but towards the end, I think Alcaraz improved his first serve percentage. He was able to serve some good ones when he actually needed them in the fourth set and in the fifth set. And points won on the first serve, I think it was better for Sinner. He was serving really well, and his serve was very effective. Now, points on the second serve, obviously, I think this is an important factor. Alcaraz won 57% of the points. The speed doesn't matter. Both were in 200s and both were serving well. I thought Sinner sometimes served the second serve with more variety, with more pace, and it also won him some cheap points. Now, talking about the other statistics. So, break points, I felt that earlier Alcaraz had created so many opportunities in the first set. It looked like Alcaraz had made the better start to the match. But just after 3 or 4 games, I think he was leading with the break 3-2. But then Sinner came back in the first set, and from then on, Alcaraz was always playing catch up. Now, Alcaraz is a sort of player who is more like Federer. So if you have seen Federer how he plays, once he gets the lead, he gets the confidence, and then he goes more for his shots. He can produce magical shots, hit winners from all areas of the court. But if he's down, then Federer also starts playing conservative tennis. He's not sure what he needs to do. Similar cases with Alcaraz, because he was playing catch up in the first set and in the second set, he was not sure whether he should go for his massive forehand or whether he should play conservative. And you would see he tried both of those things, and he was missing a lot of shots. When he was being too conservative, Sinner was making him pay by hitting winners. So it's a difficult situation for Alcaraz to be in, because he is a natural aggressive player who likes to hit and unload on his forehand. He, again, because of his movement, which is so good on this surface, and overall, he was able to convert a lot of backhands into his forehand by running around, and was able to control the point from there. So he's a sort of player who doesn't like to play catch up tennis, but he has that special quality which is very, very rare, that he finds a way to win, and he finds his best tennis when it's absolutely needed. So if you see the total points here, it's more for Sinner. Winners, obviously, Alcaraz was going for more on his forehand, so he has more winners, but he also has more unforced errors. Again, the quality of the match was terrific, because, and like, you're seeing that the number of winners are less than unforced errors, so you might feel that overall the quality wasn't that good, but it's not the case, because these guys are not just hitting winners directly for them to hit a winner, it takes two or three winners, right? Because they have such a good defensive ability that they could run from corner to corner, and it's very difficult to beat or go through these players. So when they hit a winner, it's an absolutely gem of a shot, specifically for someone like Sinner, because Alcaraz moves so well. He can get to the drop shots. He can get to any shot, right? So for Sinner to be able to go through Alcaraz or win points or hit winners against him, that is an incredible point in itself. And for Alcaraz, I think most of his winners came from either drop shots or mostly from forehand. Even on drop shots, I think he did not use it as much because he did not get a chance to do that against Sinner, because Sinner is so quick, right? So the only shot, or the most important shot in today's match for me, was Alcaraz's forehand. It was a completely lethal shot, and it's not like it was working throughout the match. No. For the first two sets, I think it was a low percentage shot. He was missing a lot of balls from that wing. But then he trusted that shot, and it improved as the match progressed. And towards the end of the match, it was at his absolute best. Now, as you can see, both of the players tried to come to the net, and both of the players were almost equally successful. So you can see 67% of the points won by them. So I think stat wise, there is not much to choose between them. And it's more on the shots and more on the moments where they were able to produce these sort of shots, what mattered the most. Now, let's look at the key moments. Number one, Alcaraz lifted his forehand form midway during second set. He was missing a lot of shots, going for broke too early in the rally for me, and he was even in defensive positions where earlier maybe he could use slice on the stretch and still be in the point. He was not doing that. He was going for broke, and he was missing a lot of shots. Right. Now, another key moment was Sinner winning a good second set tiebreak. I really thought that Alcaraz would make a comeback in the second set, and he tried to do that. He tried to improve his game, but again, Sinner stood firm. He was more consistent, and he was able to win the second set. Now, when the second set went away, I thought maybe this is surely the moment where Sinner would capitalize and like he would just run away with the match. But that doesn't happen, right? Because Alcaraz, the way Alcaraz's attitude is, like he engaged the crowd a lot, and there is no doubt crowd was supporting Alcaraz more so because he was down two sets to love. So crowd wanted to see more of the match. So that was one of the reasons. But overall, because Alcaraz plays with this, he always keeps the crowd involved. A lot of fist pumps and watching his box and keeping the crowd engaged, raising his hand after every good point that he wins. And even if he loses, even after being two sets to love down, whenever he played a good point, he was like he looked like he was having a good reaction, good attitude, just like Nadal. He was doing vamos and just trying to pump himself up on each and every point, and which is good to see. It meant that he's not gonna go away maybe six love in the third set, that as other players are going against Sinner. So he kept his composure, and he got an early break in the third set, and he was able to make a comeback. And he made an amazing comeback in the third set. I really thought it was a huge effort for him, because remember, he hadn't won a match being two sets to love down. So this was an uncharted territory for Alcaraz. Now, Alcaraz saved three championship points. Now, how common is that? How often do you see that? It's very rare. Absolutely, I think maybe you never see it. Right? In the fourth set, Alcaraz was a breakdown. Okay, he was serving to stay in the match, and he was love 40 down. Can you imagine him coming back against the world number one, against a Sinner who is at his absolute peak, and still being able to save those three championship points? Obviously, I'm not saying that Alcaraz hit winners and saved those 3 points, but just to serve well on those 3 points, maintain his composure, and somehow save those points. And then in the very next game, he was able to break Sinner and then get back into the match, get back into that set, and then win the fourth set in another tiebreak. Amazing comeback. I mean, I didn't see this coming. When I saw the match and when he was love 40 down, I thought, okay, this is it. Sinner is just gonna hit a winner, and then that is done, and it's a four-set victory for Sinner. But you never know how Alcaraz comes back and what he does. You can never expect, right? What he will do. You can never predict. So another key moment was resilience from Sinner. Now he has to be credited a lot because after losing the fourth set, after losing those championship points in the fifth set, he was a breakdown early. Right, so it was, I think, love two, love three, and then it was an uphill battle for Sinner from then on. Also, he looked physically tired. He was not injured, but he looked slow. He was going for his shots early, and because he was a breakdown, I thought maybe you know he might lose the set 6-2 or 6-1. And Alcaraz had 30 all in another game where he was already 3-1 up in the fifth set. So I thought maybe this is the time for Alcaraz to make a move and then finish the set early. But credit to Sinner, not only stood there in the match, he actually started playing better in the latter stages of the fifth set. He went for more winners. Suddenly, he started serving better. He was winning some cheap points on his serve, and he was hitting winners from all over the court. And he made a great comeback when Alcaraz was serving for the championship at 5-4. And not only that, then he kept his composure. He went to the tiebreak. But in the tiebreak, that was an amazing, I think, the most amazing and I would say a very high level display of tennis in that tiebreak from Alcaraz. He went 7 love up in the tiebreak. Now remember that it was a match tiebreak, so it was 10 points. The first player to win 10 points or get to 10 points would win the match. So it showed that both the players had some liberty, some room for error because it was not a 7 point tiebreak, but a 10 point tiebreak. It was a match tiebreak, but still the way Alcaraz started, he just went 7-0 up in that. And those were not misses from Sinner, right? Those were brilliant shots from Alcaraz. If you see the highlights, you will understand he was just going for the lines. He was moving very, very well, chasing all the balls down and then going for winners, whether it was backhand, forehand, drop shot. He just played an amazing match tiebreak. And from then on, I think it was very difficult for Sinner to come back being love 7 down. So now let's look at the key factors. Okay. So I thought, as I already mentioned, Sinner won one more point than Alcaraz. So I felt that Sinner had this match on his racket from the beginning, and Alcaraz was just trying to sort of get into form. He did not feel that he was in form from the get go. He was struggling to get his form. I mean, he was hitting some very good shots and then some missing some very bad shots as well. So he was trying to find his groove, and he really got that in the third set. But as I have said earlier in all the matches, and we have all seen this, right? He plays much like Rafa. So when you face Nadal on clay, you know that there would be one point, only one point, that is needed by Rafa to turn around the match. It could come at any point. It could even come in the third set, like today, where you thought that Sinner would run away with the match. So this is a good similarity between Rafa and Alcaraz because Alcaraz possesses so much of variety, so much of weapons, and so much of confidence. And when he is confident, he actually plays better tennis and goes for more, and even makes some impossible looking shots, right? So I think for any other player who's playing against Alcaraz, they would have this in the back of their mind that even till the last point, until the last point is played and won, Alcaraz can make a comeback. If something clicks in him, he'll just start hitting winners and engage the crowd and suddenly look more energetic and do vamos, and it would be very difficult for anyone to beat him. So one of the key factors for me was the attitude that Alcaraz showed in this match. Now he was really, pumped up, and even when he was down, it never looked like he was out of it. Even when he was missing shots, he was still pumping himself up, focusing on the next point, and somehow winning the key points. Sinner served and returned better. Obviously, he caught a lot of cheap points and he returned very well. Lot of good serves from Alcaraz were returned with interest by Sinner, and it neutralized the point, the rally completely, and then Sinner was able to take advantage of those. Alcaraz's forehand was misfiring at times but improved as the match progressed. Sinner looked physically tired during the initial part of the fifth, but as I already mentioned, he still managed to stage a comeback, and what an amazing comeback that was in the fifth set. The end of the fifth set, the last 3 or 4 games, and the tiebreak, those were, I think, the highlight of the match, really, because that's where I felt that the quality of the match, quality of the shots were at their peak and both players were playing well. It was not a scenario or a situation where someone was not playing well. Both of them had peaked at the right moment in that at that time. Now the conditions, now, although like no one is talking about it, but it's true that in this match, in this sort of final match that goes long, for 5 hours or so, the conditions also change mid-match. So when the match started, the sun was out and it was hot conditions. The ball was bouncing more, ball was going quicker through the air, so it probably gave Sinner a bit of advantage because he could then fire off winners. He could get more power, and it could also give less time for Alcaraz to prepare his shots because Alcaraz likes to prepare, likes to have some time to get set for the shot and then go for the big forehand. So he was not getting that time earlier, but as the time progressed, as the match progressed and the sunset happened, and then the conditions became a bit cooler, and what it meant was the court became a bit slower, the conditions became a bit heavier. So not much change, but obviously Alcaraz would have loved to have that sort of condition. Now, the key takeaways, a lot of them. Alcaraz won his fifth Grand Slam title today, and it was his second French Open title. Alcaraz came back from love 2 down in sets for the first time in his career. Alcaraz is 5 love now in Grand Slam finals. He has a 100% record. He has never lost in a Grand Slam final. He keeps that record intact. Sinner also had that record till now, but today, because he lost the final, now that record is broken. Sinner still stays world number one because if you remember, Alcaraz was defending this championship from last year, so he had 2,000 points to defend, so he won't get any extra point. Whereas Sinner obviously played well, so he is already ahead by around 3,000 points more than Alcaraz. But the second half of the year, this is where things will get interesting because Sinner has a lot of points to defend. He was the US Open champion, and Alcaraz has a lot of points to gain there. So maybe it will be interesting to see who finishes the year as world number one. Now, the match lasted almost 5.5 hours, and this was the longest French Open final. And I really feel that you should watch the highlights or the full replay if it is available, because this was a match that was continuing to be changing each and every moment. And these players, what movement, what court coverage they showed, just amazing. And the atmosphere was just electric. The crowd was so much engaged after the second set when Alcaraz started making the comeback, and it was just an amazing thing to watch. So I hope you also liked that match and the this review as well. Thank you so much for watching.